Greetings. This is Justin Allen with the Elite Nurse Practitioner. Welcome to the Elite Nurse Practitioner Show, podcast dedicated to nurse practitioner entrepreneurism and achieving financial freedom, where I talk directly with nurse practitioners who need help. Listen up, our market is saturated. Jobs can be scarce. We are underpaid. We are undervalued. We are taken advantage of by the sharks within the healthcare system, and frankly, screw that. I'm sick of it, and it's time for a change. And listen, I'm here to help make that happen. We are powerful. We can forge a path where we are in control of our career and ultimately our financial and personal well-being. You do not need to submit to healthcare administrators and your doctor overlords. You do not have to take a measly salary. You do not have to work 50 to 60 hours a week. There is a different way, and I'm here to show you that path. This podcast is raw and unfiltered. I have not talked to the nurse practitioners in this podcast prior to the call outside of an email exchange to schedule the episode. What you're about to listen to is a consultation session between a nurse practitioner and myself. It is real, it is unscripted, it is unplanned, and I have no idea what we're going to talk about. Anything and everything can happen during our conversation. The nurse practitioners in these episodes are struggling with an issue in their professional or financial life, and they have reached out to me for help. My goal is to help the nurse practitioner with actionable advice that will enhance and improve their professional, business, and financial life. My other goal is to hopefully help my nurse practitioner sisters and brothers build a more productive, powerful, and free life. So I hope the content and information within these podcast episodes does just that. All right, onto the episode. Hello, everyone. Today we will be talking to Nick, who is a dual certified family and adult acute care nurse practitioner practicing out of Connecticut. Currently, he's working urgent care full-time and also does PRN work as a hospitalist. He recently started a concierge practice offering direct primary care, IV infusion, weight loss, and sick visit care. He is needing assistance with patient acquisition, SEO, and how to optimize the workflow of patient care as he is only 2 months into his practice start. Hey, Nick, how are you?
Good, Justin. How are you today?
Hey, I'm good, man. I appreciate you hopping on this call.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate you taking the time out to lend a hand.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So bring me up to speed with where you're at, how long you've been a nurse practitioner for, and just kind of what you've been doing.
Yeah, so I've been a nurse practitioner since 2017. I graduated from the University of South Alabama. I've been working mainly primary care, hospitalist medicine, and urgent care over the course of the past few years. I decided to take the jump into opening up my own practice so I could start trying to build some wealth as opposed to just kind of working for a living, and really kind of trying to optimize my time so I can, eventually have some more time for myself and family,
Sure, man. I get it. Yeah. Okay. So then you started this little concierge clinic just a couple months ago.
Yeah, I started January 1st was my go live date. I've got a couple of weight loss clients. I've got, I've had a few kind of sick visits coming in, but I've been kind of struggling with the acquisition of patients, finding the right way to market the practice, whether it be through social media or through Google, and how to obtain those clients from that population and then turn them into a recurring client base, So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Okay. So let's run through some numbers then. I mean, how many patients have you seen over the last couple of months?
I've seen 7 since January for urgent visits or sick visits. And then I have 2 recurring weight loss clients.
Okay. So it's been kind of slow.
Been slow, yeah.
Been slow. Okay. And can you walk me through some of your expenses here? So, rent, supplies, marketing, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So rent, I'm currently doing it, out of the house. So I don't have any rent right now. I'm doing doing the visits at home or on telehealth. So I don't have any rent in that sense. My website cost was about $1,850. Supplies, I'm probably in at about $300 or so. Let's see what else I've got. The acquisition cost for like my medicine for the weight loss has only been, at about $400. So I've put in about $400 into Facebook messaging. I've put in about $300 into Instagram marketing. Yep. And then I've put in about another $100 into Google marketing, but I was having some issues getting my practice verified on Google. So I just recently, within the past week or so, got that verified onto Google. So my Google reach was not very good because they didn't have, I didn't have an active business profile on the,
right.
Google site. So
right. Okay. Yeah. So your Google business listing is basically fresh. Like it just went up.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, good. I mean, that'll definitely help. No question about it. Okay. So this is
and I just partnered with ZocDoc over the course of the past week to see if I could try to garner some patients that way as well.
Through that. Yeah. Yeah. Some people have been getting quite a few patients from that and others haven't. It seems to be just dependent on where you're at. So, okay. So this is a pretty cheap practice, it sounds like. I mean, very few expenses here. Yeah. So very little risk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the first thing that comes to mind here is that you're offering a lot of different things, so, you're offering primary care services, sick visits, and then you also are offering some of this niche stuff like weight loss and IV infusion. And so I think there might be a little bit of a disconnect here for potential patients. I think being as focused as possible usually is better. And so, And so what I'm thinking here is maybe the direct primary care and the sick visit thing should be a separate business, possibly. And then maybe the IV infusion and the weight loss should be another separate thing as well. So we have a wellness practice and then have a, more of like a primary care thing. Yeah, I think that would make your marketing efforts and whatnot a lot easier.
Okay.
And the reason why is because, if a patient is seeking out IV infusion or a weight loss clinic in your area, your website's popping up now, maybe, or maybe not at all, because you're offering so many different things. So it confuses them, right?
Yep.
If they're looking for sick visit care and they see all this IV infusion and weight loss and whatnot on your website, it could confuse them as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it might be a better idea to maybe separate it out a little bit. I mean, you can still operate under the same LLC. You're just basically doing business ads kind of stuff.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah. So you don't have to really rework anything here other than a separate website, basically. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Maybe just a little bit of restructuring here might be beneficial. I mean, I don't know if you want to hear that or not, but that's kind of just my initial thoughts.
Yeah. I'm game for anything. I mean, the idea is to succeed, right? So whatever I can do,
Sure. Absolutely, man.
Goal. So
yeah. I mean, sometimes you just have to restructure things a little bit. You know what I mean? And so with that said, your Google business listing now, what's the name of your practice?
Total Concierge.
Okay, I mean, that's a great name. Yeah, I love that. That's a fantastic name. So you might want to maybe just rework that just a little bit to maybe just Total Concierge primary care, just kind of make it a little bit more obvious. And then have a wing off of it called maybe Total Concierge weight loss and IV infusion.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so when people look that up in your area, even your Google business listing will literally say weight loss and IV infusion. So, I mean, there's absolutely no confusion whatsoever. So it's just one way to effectively market your practice, and it's basically free.
Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So that's maybe just one suggestion there. Right now, you said you've seen 7 sick visits.
Yeah.
How did you get those patients?
2 or 3 of them came from Googling the practice from like my Facebook stuff. They came from my Facebook marketing, saw that I offered same day telehealth sick visits. They called me, saw them. 2 people were, friends of friends that, in my local town that were like, hey, my buddy does this, why don't you give him a call if you're not feeling so good? And I got a couple that way as well.
Gotcha. So mostly kind of just word of mouth stuff.
Yeah, just word of mouth, basically.
Do you have any idea how many people are landing on your website? Do you have any idea what the traffic's like yet? Have you looked at
Yeah, so I've got the Google Analytics page all set up through my site, and I haven't had a whole lot of traffic. I've only had about 500 people land on the site. My average time on the site is about 2.5 minutes. My bounce rate is about 7%.
And out of those 500 people, man, we have no idea how many of those were actually real people too,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, there's bots and all kinds of things, scouring the internet, and these numbers aren't terribly accurate. Yeah. So then, even if you've had a couple hundred, did you get the weight loss patients from the website or how'd you get that?
So the weight loss patients I actually got through just like feet on the ground. I was talking with a couple of local like wellness people. I've got one lady who has this place called Evolve Nutrition, which is like an Herbalife, like smoothie place. And so I got one from her, and then I was talked with one of the physical therapists in the area, and he was like, I just love your business model. I love what you're doing. I've got a patient that really could do with some weight loss. I'm going to send them over to you. So those 2 came from, my networking within the area.
Yeah, just good old boot work marketing. Okay, so basically you've converted nothing from your website then, essentially.
Exactly. Right. Nothing from, very limited from Facebook, nothing from the website, nothing from Instagram, nothing from Google.
Okay. Again, we don't really know what the true number of people landing on your website has been. So it's really hard to gauge that at this point. Yeah. But, we can at least assume there's probably been a couple of hundred people actually land on the site.
Yeah.
So why didn't they call? Right.
Yeah,
why
exactly.
What was the issue here?
Right.
We don't know if they were looking for weight loss. We don't know if they were looking for primary care. Like, we don't know what they were looking for. Right.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah. What's your focus on your website? Is it more of just the concierge care or?
So when I was looking at it, to me, it kind of looks more like primary care focused. I mean, I do have a big section for like the IV therapy stuff, but basically the way the services page on my website kind of looks is, they're expandable sections. So you click on primary care, you click on direct primary care, it opens that up. Click on the weight loss, opens that up,
Right. Think of this from the patient's perspective, right? So they land on your website, they want primary care. Most of them want to use their insurance. I'm assuming this is cash only.
Correct. Yeah.
So first and foremost, they're going to land on your site for the primary care. Oh, you don't accept my insurance. Next, right?
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. DPC works. It can just be a little slow, building it up.
And there's nobody in the area. So when I was doing the market research prior to that, obviously the state of Connecticut's kind of small. I'm centrally located. We have some up in the northeast corner. There's one or two. Some in like the Fairfield County, which is kind of southwest. And there's really not any in the central market for Connecticut. So that's what kind of led me to think that it would be a pretty good deal in this area.
Sure. Absolutely. For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. But yeah, I just think there might be, a little bit of a disconnect here.
I agree for sure.
Yeah. So that's why I'm kind of thinking, when they land on your website, what's the issue here? Because I mean, you've had a few people, a few hundred people land on your website, so like, why are they not calling? Why are they not sending a message? Why are they not booking an appointment? Right. So I think that maybe just a rework there will probably benefit you more than anything else.
Mm-hmm. So kind of separate out. So do a separate website for the weight loss, IV infusion, and then the primary care. And that might.
That's what I would do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Two separate businesses. I mean, like I said, they can function on the same LLC, same bank accounts, same EMR, payment processor. Everything else is the same. You're just basically making it look like that it's two different businesses.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so this would only be really just a $1,500 investment or whatever on your end just to get another site built.
Yeah, exactly.
So then, when you get this website built, just make it painfully obvious what it is that you do. So, they land on the website, weight loss, IV infusion. Right. They land on the website, DPC. You know what I mean? So think about it from the patient's perspective as well. So if I'm looking, exactly. They're kind of confused. And so when when I'm looking for someone who specializes in something, so to speak, like if I'm looking for like an asset protection lawyer, for example, and I land on some law firm's website, asset protection's mentioned. But then so is family law and DUI. Like, you're just like, what? Nah, I want someone who focuses on asset protection, all this other crap.
Right.
It's similar for patients too. They see that you do all this other stuff and it just might not click.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably what I'd focus on.
Yeah, that sounds good.
And I think when you do that, I think your SEO will kind of follow suit. I think just your search engine ranking will follow suit because right now, what keywords are people searching for your stuff to even come up?
That's true.
Yeah, they type in weight loss. The other clinics that say weight loss in their name are probably going to pop up before yours.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because I downloaded, it's a WordPress site. So because I got it through Commercial Webmaster through the, through the Facebook site and everything. So I got it through him, and it's, so it's WordPress. So I have this, all-in-one SEO that I plug in that I downloaded attached to it. So I've been spending hours on the SEO there. But one of the recurring themes that kind of comes up with that SEO is, the keywords aren't mentioned in the title. I was kind of thinking along those lines as well when I was looking at the SEO, and I kind of talked with Will too, and that's kind of something that he had said as well. Just I've got great content, the site looks great, but this is kind of something that you should think about. Absolutely, in the headers and everything, for sure. That's what I mean by having it in your practice's name. It's the header of the website. I mean, it pops up. Like my medical cannabis clinic, medical cannabis is literally in the name. My men's health clinic, testosterone's in the name. You know what I mean? Yep.
So yeah, I think just a few little reworks like that will really, really benefit you, and your SEO will follow suit.
Cool. Yeah.
Okay. So do you have any other questions about the SEO aspect of it? I just really think that's just what needs to be done.
Yeah, just reworking the name. Yeah, that kind of makes sense to me. After looking at, because I've got all the keywords in there, like I went through other pages, put in all the keywords, put in all the alt attributes, did all of the internal linking and external linking, did all of the extra stuff that kind of goes along with it. So that's really kind of the last thing that really kind of I think needs to follow suit there. I agree with you for sure. Yeah, you have all these keywords, you have all this other stuff, but there's that one missing piece there. So that's what I would do. Yeah. And then in terms of like patient acquisition, reworking the website and getting another Google business listing up, I think that'll definitely help. You can definitely market on social media, for the weight loss and the IV infusion, or even the direct primary care. You could just do some experimentation, select different demographics, target markets.
different areas, different income levels. So you can do a little bit of experimentation in terms of the marketing goes and see kind of what pulls on each service. You might find that advertising weight loss on Facebook just kills it and everything else is just dead. So you just scrap it,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I found with Instagram. I just found that there's like no good marketing, with Instagram. I put up a couple of different posts, weight loss in the IV infusion, and I got not, after spending a few $100s, I got nothing with what Instagram says or Meta says that I reached, 10,000 people. I got nothing from that.
Were you providing an offer?
Was I no, I wasn't providing an offer, like 10% off weight loss or something. No, I wasn't providing anything like that.
Okay. So you need to make sure that you are providing an offer on every single ad that you send out.
Okay.
There's different kinds of ads. There's ads, for brand awareness and, information, just getting the word out about your practice.
Okay.
But a lot of people don't care about that. They want to know, okay, what's the offer, right? Like, why should I go with you? And so if you have an offer and then you also have a deadline with it, you might find conversions to be a lot higher.
Okay.
And so you make it just painfully obvious on, the Facebook image or the Instagram image, make it just painfully obvious, like 20% off semaglutide this month only, an offer and a deadline. A lot of people skip that. Yeah, they're not, they don't really think about that when they're doing, when they're creating their own ads. So I think it's just really, really important to make sure that you're offering those things.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And then make sure that they're landing on a little small landing page of your website, talks about the offer, schedule now. And so what you could do is you could have the web designer Will maybe just design you a landing page that you can get in there and just rework the content from time to time. You can just delete the headline and put a new headline in, but it's all the same template.
Yeah.
So that way you can just do it yourself. So I think if you do that with the website rework and everything, I think that, you should get some more patience. Now you're doing some stuff already that's working, strapping on your boots and getting out there. What's preventing you from doing more of that?
Time, really kind of time. It takes time. You got to go give them your presentation. It's an hour of your time that you meet with these people. And because I work 3 to 4 days a week. So I'm, trying to get at least 1 or 2 people a week that I go talk to. Like I went and talked to a couple of the hotels in the area too, to see if maybe I can garner some people who are traveling, need a quick visit because they got sick on their travels or whatever, that kind of thing. Really time is the biggest thing. So
sure. The one thing about the sick visits, there's no recurrent income with it.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing that's, it kind of sucks about sick visits for, this kind of thing. It's labor intensive and there's very little recurrent income with it. Yeah. So, with the weight loss and the IV, that's going to be more of a recurrent thing. I would maybe think to yourself, where is going to be my biggest bang for my buck and my time? And so I think weight loss is where, the majority of your money's probably going to come from. Where can you go to get more of those patients?
Yeah, I definitely see how the weight loss is probably going to be one of the biggest things for recurrence as well as income, because it just is, it's easy. Just order the medicine. A bunch of people probably can inject themselves. So our follow-ups weekly are just completely cash on the books,
Right. You don't have to follow up with them weekly. I usually follow up with my patients once a month. Typically, for weight loss. Hell, sometimes every 2 months, just depends, what their time's like. And you'd be billing them on a monthly basis. So then that way, you'd have that recurrent income.
And with the semaglutide, they can use it. Obviously, you can use it indefinitely. So, I found like this one lady that I'm doing, she's already ordered, she's already put her order in for the next batch of medicine in 3 weeks from now. She's already paid for that. She's already got it on the books, so she's in on it. So that kind of shows me that I've got some recurrence in that. So
absolutely. For sure. That's what I would maybe focus on a little bit more, because I think it's going to be your biggest return on investment. It's going to build more of a passive income stream for you.
Yeah.
And so I think that just get out there and try to go, where these patients are. That physical therapist was, sending you patients, gyms, just wherever you can go that these patients are at. That's where I would go.
Yeah.
And that's free marketing, just getting out there and just getting the word out. So do you have any other questions about the marketing or anything?
No, I think that's pretty good.
Okay. All right. I hope everyone's enjoying the episode so far. I just wanted to take a quick break to thank everyone listening and also give a big thank you to all of my social media followers and email subscribers. If you haven't done so yet, please subscribe to our email list at www.elitenp.com and make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Email subscribers will receive updates on new weekly podcast episodes, multiple weekly articles we publish, new courses, and everything else related to helping you succeed. Remember, all Elite Nurse Practitioner courses are designed to help you build a niche practice, increase your financial strength, and to break free from the rat race. If I can break free and that other countless nurse practitioners can break free, then so can you. Additionally, please share this podcast with your other nurse practitioner sisters and brothers out there. The more NPs that venture out on their own, the stronger our profession will become. Now, let's get back to the episode. And then workflow. So you had some questions about, I guess, just the workflow. This is mobile telemedicine. So kind of walk me through the process.
The process is you'd look at the website, you'd click the schedule now button, the big schedule now button that I have up in the top right corner. From there, you would land on my patient portal. From there, you can, I have a bunch of resource hours that are already blocked off throughout the days that you can just click on and schedule. And I think the hard part that I'm having the trouble with is, where do we flow from get that schedule? How do I get my work day so set up, where I can optimize my time on those days? And so that's kind of been difficult in the sense of like when I have to go, because both of the people that I have to inject. They're not injecting themselves. They won't inject themselves. So weekly I'm having to go fit them in, and they live on opposite sides of the state,
Ooh, that's the issue with a mobile practice.
I think so.
Yeah, it's going to be really hard to get these workflows down when you're doing injections like this regularly and you have to be the one injecting.
Yeah. And as I was kind of talking myself through this just now, I was thinking to myself, like, I really probably need to start thinking about a brick and mortar at some point. But at the same time, it's like rent in Connecticut is super expensive. I went through the rent, like trying to find a brick and mortar before I even opened, in the idea of, okay, well, if I build it, they will come kind of thing. Even in some of the not great places where you would not want to rent, you're still talking $1,500 a month, $2,000 a month.
Well,
the nicer places, $3,500 a month.
Right. Well, I mean, you got to spend money to make money. Especially you want more time and more, more freedom here with the business. You don't want to give yourself a job.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's what you might be doing if you get a lot of people on semaglutide and you have to be the one giving them the injection. Yeah, man, you're gonna be giving yourself a job. And that's not really income generating work. That's busy work.
Yeah, exactly. I waste a lot. You'll waste a lot of time driving around.
Yeah, time, gas. I mean, there's a lot of just waste there. I mean, the workflow sounds, pretty reasonable to me. I think there's just going to be some holes here because you're mobile. This is something that you might just require the patients to give themselves. Well, I mean, why can't they do this? It's nothing.
Yeah, well, I agree with that. One of them is like, oh, I'm needle phobic. I don't want to give this to myself. The other aspect is, like when you order from, like I'm ordering from South Lake, you get a vial and some bacteriostatic water and you got to reconstitute. So are they giving themselves the right dosage? It's not the click pens, unfortunately,
Yeah. What you could do here is that the patient would get the semaglutide. You could go there for the first visit, reconstitute it, show them how to do it, and then show them how to do the injection, or even train their spouse or whatever to do it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's what I would do, man, because you're never going to be able to grow or scale this thing if you're running around doing that.
Yeah, and that's the idea. I want to be able to scale this obviously to the point where it becomes semi-passive. I can hire a nurse to go do some of these things, so that way I'm not the one having to do all of this all the time.
And, another thing too, with the IV infusion, in terms of the workflow goes, you're doing this mobile, that's real labor intensive. You got to go to their house, you either mix the bag at their house or mix the bag before you leave, give them the infusion. You got to sit there and wait 30 to 45 minutes. You can only see one patient at a time. And so it's really hard to scale that too. Versus having a brick and mortar practice, right? Where you could be doing 4 infusions at a time. And so, it might sound scary paying $2,000 a month for a place, but to scale a business like this, I honestly think that you kind of have to, if you want to stick to IV infusion, injectables, and that sort of thing. Yeah. I mean, the DPC, you could do that mobile, you could do that telemed as well, but even doing that mobile, it's still labor intensive.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is labor intensive.
It is. Yeah. I mean, I think mobile delivery is worthwhile. Don't get me wrong, but it's labor intensive.
Yeah.
You'll never be able to grow or scale a business to what you could do with a brick and mortar practice. Yeah. I don't want you to get analysis paralysis here or just get really scared about, paying $2,000 a month for a place you have 10 weight loss patients paying you $200 or $300 a month, you've pretty much covered your rent.
That's
you know
true.
what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's really not that much of a risk when you just break the numbers down. Like I was really scared of that when I first started, but now it doesn't even faze me. I'd pay $3,000 a month for a place for my men's health clinic if I had to. So food for thought.
Yeah, absolutely.
So do you have any other questions in terms of the workflow go? I mean, it sounds like it's pretty reasonable. They land on the website, they, get sent to the clinic portal, they schedule an appointment. You said that you were having issues though, trying to get it like worked out and planning your day.
Yeah, I guess more in the sense of like how to like restructure the workflow so I'm in a general area. I guess I kind of answered my own question. I just need to be looking at it from a perspective of I need to make a decision, but whether it's going to be basically brick and mortar or I'm going to continue on the mobile, and then figure out how to kind of have people book within my time frame in specific areas as opposed to just letting them book whenever. But then that kind of takes away from the ease and convenience, right?
Yeah,
So
kind of the whole concierge vibe of it. Yeah. That would be kind of difficult to navigate, like you can only schedule this day if you're in this county. You can only schedule this day if you're in this part of the county.
Yeah,
I still know if that would work very well. So listen, if you want to stick mobile, I know this is kind of going off topic here, but if you want to stick mobile, I think that the concierge aspect of what you're doing needs to be the selling point. And I think that you need to charge appropriately for it to make this worth your while if you're going to stick mobile.
So the concierge aspect of it would be like $1,250 a year.
For just the direct primary care?
For just the membership to the direct primary care, yeah.
Okay. So $110, $100 a month kind of a thing.
And then I would obviously charge, my model right now is $50 for the, for a visit if you are one of the concierge clients.
Gotcha. I mean, running around the county, dude, for $100 a month. I mean, especially if you have some patients who are really needy, you're going to be finding yourself dreading those patients.
Yeah, that's true.
I think there just might be a couple little reworks here that you need to really consider. I think that if you're going to be doing the concierge care, I would increase the price, especially for the weight loss and the IV. Because, I mean, you're going to their house. I mean, you have vehicle expenses, you have your time. There's a lot of expenses associated with this. So yeah, I would definitely increase the price. What are you charging for weight loss?
So I'm charging $275 for the medicine, and then I'm charging $50 for the visit every single time I see them.
For the weekly injection?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So these people are paying you $500 a month, basically?
Basically, yeah.
It's pretty good, honestly. I mean, I think that the expense there is what? So $199 for the bottle of semaglutide?
Well, and then $20 for shipping, and then I'm charging them $275 for it. Yeah.
Right. And then plus the visits for the injection. Yeah.
Oh, and then I'm charging a $75 like weight loss intake, to kind of do like their dietary education, exercise education, make sure that there's no real barrier to the medication, a little bit of a longer visit, I guess. So
I think I would break this down to two different things. I think I would break it down into a straight monthly fee that includes the medication, the visits, and everything. You could call that $500 a month. And then, well, let's see here. So it's $199 through South Lake. The semaglutide should be about a month's supply. I would charge at least $300 for that, and then have maybe 2 add-ons. So remember, you want to make at least $100 a month off each patient, right? Profit, at least. And so you might have 2 options here. You might have one option for the semaglutide at maybe $300 to $350 a month. If your area is a little bit more affluent, then charge a little bit more. Yeah, so maybe charge $350 a month for the semaglutide. That's self-injection. You inject it yourself. Follow-up visits are done telemedicine. I check in with you monthly, see how you're doing. Call it a day. $350. That's it. Don't charge anything for the initial intake. Nothing. It's just all included in that one price. This will just simplify everything, and it'll keep it simple for the patients landing on your website, looking at your pricing and that kind of stuff. And then you can have another option that if you cannot inject yourself, then maybe do the $50 per injection fee. And then that way it's going to incentivize the patient to learn how to inject themselves. And that saves you a lot of time. I mean, it'll decrease your revenue, but you're worth more than $50 an hour.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It doesn't make sense. So maybe have a rework there. If you're going to go out and do the injections on them, then maybe charge more of a premium on that, but have another option that's cheaper if they learn how to do it themselves.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because remember, the thing is, you want the easy passive income. So if you're charging them $350 a month, that's one vial of semaglutide and, one telemedicine visit a month. You're only talking to the patient for 15, 30 minutes a month, and you're making $150 profit. And so then that way it gives you more of your time back. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that'll improve the flow of everything. Any questions there?
No, that makes sense.
Okay. Do you have any thoughts on maybe restructuring the pricing or anything?
Yeah, no, I think that's a good idea. kind of what I was thinking when I was doing the pricing model was kind of trying to get that recurrence. My idea initially was medicine, 2 or 3 visits that month. That'll give me enough cushion. Then these people can kind of go off to their own devices for like once every month, so that way at least I had that recurrence. That was what my thought process was initially.
Gotcha.
But I also like this too, because this frees up my time.
Right.
Yeah.
Remember, you don't want to give yourself a job, man, and you're going to give yourself a job doing it this way. You'll end up just getting tired.
No, I agree.
Because you're working full time, you're PRN hospitalist work, and now you got to spend your time off driving somewhere to give someone a sub-Q injection. That takes
which is
5 seconds. Right.
Yep.
Yeah, I just don't know if I just don't think it's worth your time. I think you make more money doing PRN hospitalist shift.
Oh, absolutely. For sure. Especially if I can't scale it,
Correct.
And doing it mobily. I think that's kind of the issue. I just can't. I think that'll be the difficult part. Once I get enough people, it'll be too hard to scale just on time, just time alone.
Well, if you structure it in a way, you could scale this. You go to their home for the first visit, the initial visit, right?
Yeah.
You do a weigh-in, you do a physical exam, whatever, and then you maybe have to go out there again to show them how to reconstitute and how to inject. After that, it's all telemedicine.
That's true.
And you have recurring monthly income from each patient, and you're only talking to them for 15 minutes a month. You could have a very, very large practice if you structure it that way.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I mean, you could have a very large practice, man, because you could schedule these people out, 4 or 5 an hour for their monthly follow-up. You're sitting at home versus driving around and whatnot. Knock those out quick.
Yeah, that's true.
And then it's just a monthly recurrent income. And a lot of these people might not even want to be followed up once a month. They're like, yeah, I'm doing good. Thanks.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So if you structure it that way, I think you could scale it and it would decrease, the financial risk in terms of getting like a brick and mortar practice. Now, the IV infusion component of it, though, there's no way around that. You have to go out there and do the IV. Make sure you charge a premium for that.
I haven't even had any type of interest in it, which I was thinking opposite. I was thinking that I was going to have a bunch of interest for this, as well as, I guess I'm getting a little bit on the weight loss, but not much. But I figured I would be getting some interest on the IV infusion, but I'm not.
I think it's the presentation, and I think it's the website.
Yeah. I'll definitely talk with Will and see if we can get 2 kind of separate entities going, so that way I can narrow it down a little bit.
Yep. That's what I would do. I really think that would probably benefit you a lot, especially if you have, IV infusions that complement the weight loss as well, and vice versa.
Yeah, because I got one of the ladies onto the Semarelin and Pellerin on the weight loss as well to kind of help supplement.
Yeah, the peptides. There you go. Yeah. So now you're stacking things on top of each other, right? You're maximizing the lifetime value of that customer. So yeah, I think that's really all you need to do, man. I really feel like that if you do that, give it a little bit more time and just, improve the workflow here so you're not killing yourself. I think that you could definitely have a scalable practice and stay mobile telemed.
That sounds good. I really appreciate I appreciate this for sure.
No, you're welcome. Do you have any other questions or anything?
No, I think that's pretty good. I've got a lot of information here. I just got to kind of narrow everything down, separate it out so that way people aren't confused once they get to the website, and optimize my keywords in the heading and stuff like that. And I think I kind of agree with you. I think I should, hopefully should see a lot more people.
I think so. I really do, man. If there's a whole lot of competition in your area, and it's more of an affluent area with people who have some money, I just don't see how this wouldn't work.
Yeah. I mean, it's a very, it's Connecticut, most of it's affluent, and I live kind of centrally. We got a couple of pretty affluent towns around us that are just, bleeding money. So
yeah, man, you targeted that, concierge weight loss, no wait time, no waiting rooms. I would just blow up that fact. And these people will have no problem paying you $400 or $500 a month. They don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's what I would do, man. I don't see how this would fail if you work a couple little kinks out here.
Yeah, sounds good to me. I'm definitely gonna get started on this right away.
Cool, man. Well, hey, listen, I like to end the episodes with you asking me a question. Do you have any questions in terms of anything for me? Personal question, anything with business, or has there been a question that you've wanted to ask?
What is kind of like the one thing when you go out and you start a business someplace, you start one of these practices, like what is one of the biggest things that you kind of look for in terms of, I'm going to put my business here and I'm going to market this? What is like that one thing that you kind of say, oh, I'm going to pick right here for it,
Just market research and no competition. Getting on Google Maps and doing a really, really good market analysis using multiple keywords, figuring out, okay, is there anyone else doing men's health here, for example? Is there anyone else doing IV? And I will spend an hour searching one city for it and determine, okay, I'm confident that there is very little competition here and I think this is going to be a great idea to implement this business here. Because I mean, most of these businesses are tried and true models. They work somewhere else. They're going to work, another place as well. I mean, people are people. They want the same stuff, right?
Yeah.
So that's really the biggest thing in terms of like a physical location. What I'm looking for just good roadside visibility, easy parking. That's a big one. Like, got to be easy to park in. Yeah. And just good roadside frontage. And so that's another thing I'm looking for with a physical that's a physical location. So,
yeah. Cool.
You don't want to start a practice somewhere that, you have 20 competitors. It's stupid.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Well, do you have any other questions?
No, that's it.
Awesome. Well, I hope this helped, and I appreciate you taking the time for the call, Nick.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate your time for helping me out, and I'm gonna get to work on a lot of these things, and I'll let you know how everything turns out.
Cool. Yeah, please do.
All right. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Take care. Bye. I hope everyone enjoyed the conversation with Nick. The big thing here I want you to walk away with is that sometimes all it takes is just a few little tweaks to an existing business to make it profitable and to make it successful. I mean, Nick's offering multiple different services. They kind of complement each other and they kind of don't. Okay. Primary care sick visits don't really complement weight loss and IV infusion. Okay. But there's no need for him to completely redo his entire business. He doesn't need to form separate LLCs and whatnot. He can just function under a DBA doing business as for the weight loss component. Same bank accounts, same EMRs, same everything. But all he's doing is just creating a new website, a new public image, so to speak. And then his workflows. He just needed a few little tweaks to this. Going mobile works. Telemedicine works as long as you structure it appropriately. He was in a process that he was going to give himself more work, more busy work, more of a job, going to patient's house and doing the injections and doing those sorts of things. So if he can just rework his model, get people on more of a subscription-based plan, it'll increase his passive income and it'll improve his overall efficiency. If you have a business that is struggling a little bit, you're maybe not seeing as many patients as you want, take a look at the entire business. Where is the hole? What hole do you need to fill? What do you need to fix? What do you need to tweak here to get it going? Sometimes all it is simple as creating a new website or just restructuring your website. So there's no reason to close the business down and start a completely new business when you can just tweak what you have and optimize it. All right. I hope everyone enjoyed this episode. I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks. Bye. Thank you for listening to the show. Quick legal disclaimer. The content of this podcast is meant for informational and entertainment purposes only and should not be used as legal, financial, medical, regulatory, or practice-specific advice. For information pertaining to your specific legal, financial, medical, or practice-specific needs, please be sure to consult with your lawyer, CPA, medical director, and/or your state's practice laws and the most up-to-date clinical guidelines. As always, do your due diligence when it comes to any information found online and in podcasts. The content in this podcast is copyrighted by Galaxy Medical Southwest 2022 and cannot be duplicated, rebroadcasted, or reproduced without our written permission.